Welcome to the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent.
Steve, good afternoon. Welcome back to Friday at 4 podcast series,
Good.
episode 45.
Wow.
I know.
Chuck, it's great to be back.
Yeah.
We're getting closer to that 50 mark, which is really cool. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It, when you start thinking back, and I'm going to only talk about this for like seconds. When you start thinking back from where we started to where we are today, I know we've made great strides, but if you think about all the value added that we've given, just given this again, two guys just telling you our life experiences. We're not tied to anybody. This is great stuff, and I'm excited.
Yeah. And want to hear something cool? If you hit the search bar on the podcast series, you can
Okay.
type anything in, and if we've talked about it, it'll show up.
Oh,
It'll
cool.
show you,
Did not
it'll
know
show you
that.
that podcast interview we've talked about. Yeah.
Nice. I like
Yeah.
it. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
So, how's your day? How's your week? I know we haven't had much
Yeah.
contact this week. We've both been slam
Yeah.
busy. I'm going through some rebranding, and you're working on some stuff.
Yeah, the week's been good. Last Sunday, and again, I'm in New York. New York's just outside Manhattan, New York City. So last Sunday they had this really big fair midtown.
Nice.
It went one avenue wide and 10 blocks up, so it was pretty
Wow,
big. They
that's
had
huge.
hundreds of vendors and something like 15,000 people walked through in a 7-hour time frame.
Wow.
Not to mention the 90-degree heat, but okay. Yeah, it's always a plus and a minus, right? But it
Right.
was a
Take the
great
good with the
fair.
bad.
Yeah, it was great though, but met some
Yeah.
great people,
Nice.
good relationships. So I'm following up this week with some of them. So it's been
Mhm.
really cool. Yeah, it's really good stuff. I'm excited.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we're here on TikTok Live again. We're going to see how this plays out for everybody
Cool.
that's watching and checking out
Good.
the video here and, you
Good.
know, found a different angle and see what we can do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
So, what do you
stuff.
got this week? I know we had toyed around this little idea a little bit. So, let's share your thoughts on
Cool.
what you got.
So in our kicking things around, your suggestion of this thing called documentation kind of struck a chord. Now, for those that are viewing, documentation sounds boring. It
It
really
does.
does. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? Who wants to document? But we're
Yeah.
going to go through four particular real life instances that have either happened to me or other people to illustrate the reason why documentation is very important.
Yeah. And the cool thing
And
about this, right, it's good on both sides. It's good for us on the business side, and it's good for
yep,
the consumer, to people who are
hmm
watching this video, watching this podcast.
absolutely,
It's great for both
absolutely.
sides. Yeah.
Yep, it is. It is. So I'm going to give you what it really stands for and what my version is.
Yeah.
I hope you won't laugh too much at this. So I'm going to give you two different ones. The first one is called CPA. Most people think that is certified public accountant. My version of that is constant pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And that is what the documentation is. However,
Yeah.
the second thing is it's great for CYA, which is
Yeah.
known as cover your ass. Now,
Yeah.
whether you're a business or an individual, the number one thing to do is to cover your rear end
Yeah.
because when it comes down to it and you go to court, and I have done this,
Mhm.
the judge is going to sit there and say, show me the proof.
Yeah.
Because you and I can be before a judge. You say one thing, I say the other. We know the truth lies somewhere between.
Yeah.
But if you have the documentation and the other person does not, you will win every time.
Yeah.
So let me give you the first of the four examples. Somebody I know, local to me, leased an apartment. So he took the standard lease, well, not that he took, he was given the standard lease, and it said, I, Joe Smith, will rent the apartment at 123 Main Street for $1,500 a month for 1 year. And in pretty big writing. Page 2 was a whole bunch of little writing that
Mm.
nobody reads.
Mm.
He signs the lease
Yeah.
and everything is good. So his rent is due on the 1st. So month one, first, he pays his $1,500. Month two, on the 1st, he pays his $1,500. Month three, he didn't pay it on the 1st, he paid it on the 2nd. And the landlord came to him and said, how come you only gave me $1,500? My friend's like, that's the rent.
Yeah.
In the fine print, he snuck in. This is the landlord,
Mm.
snuck in. For every day that you are late with the rent, there is a 10% charge.
Wow.
So he was late 1 day with the rent and had to pay 1 day charge. So $1,500 times 10%, he had to pay an extra $150
$50. Wow.
because
Yeah.
he was late the 1 day because he didn't read the fine print.
Yeah.
And when he read the fine print, it said if you're late 10 days, they're going to start eviction notices.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
so the point behind that story is, and we're going to repeat this several times, but the point behind that story is when you get a document, and it doesn't matter what it is, when you get that document, read it.
Yeah.
If you're not sure what it says, ask somebody to help you.
Yeah.
Don't sign, because once you sign,
Yep.
you're liable. Your
Yeah.
signature's on the piece of paper.
Yep. And what a great example, right? Because right now, that's one of the things I'm hearing the most is people are so fed up with the price of rent, which is
Yep,
not consistent across the board of anywhere you
correct,
go or any
correct.
size apartment or
Yeah.
condo or house or whatever you're
Hmm.
renting. It's all over the place and people are fed up.
Yeah,
And what good advice is read everything that you're going to sign before you even sign it so
yeah,
you don't
yeah,
get stuck like this guy that says, yep, now you
yeah,
got to give me an extra $150.
yeah, for no
Yeah,
reason.
for no reason.
No reason.
Yeah,
So, that was one simple example, but it
yeah.
shows the point.
Oh, absolutely.
So, so let's now jump to the next one. And again, this one is me. So yesterday, coincidence, yesterday in the mail, I get a letter from one of the banks. I won't tell you which one. One of the banks. And it says, congratulations, you've been approved for a credit card, pre-approved for a credit card.
Yeah,
Call us
I
up
love those.
and we'll process the paperwork. Now, couple of pages. The top page was pre-approval, and then there's page.
Right.
So out of experience, I take the first page and I flip it and I go to page 2. And I flip it and I go to page 3. And on page 4, again, the font went from this to this.
Right.
What a surprise.
Right.
And as I read it, it says the introductory rate will be 0 for 15 months. I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of lines down, buried and again in the fine print, it said after the 15 months, your APR, which is your annual percentage rate, will increase to 29.24%.
That's a good one.
And I looked at my son and I said to him, well, I'm going to clean it up. I said,
Keep it clean.
I said to him, WTF.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he goes, what? And I showed it to him and he goes to me, find the nearest shredding machine and get rid of it.
Yeah. Not to go off track with this, but there's three things to look for when I get that kind of thing in the mail. What's the APR, right? What's the yearly fee, and what are late fees? Those are three
Correct.
things I find that are very
Correct.
important at that kind
Correct.
of stuff. Not to get off
Yeah.
track. I know you're
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
a
No, 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 no.
little
Go ahead.
thing
Go
here.
ahead.
Yeah,
There's a presentation that I do, which I'm not doing now, but there's a presentation that I do now, and I call it, and again, my version is I call it the credit card scam.
yeah,
And in there, I give, and it's very high level, but I take some different scenarios that with a certain balance and an interest rate, what if you paid minimum, which is what they ask for? What if
right.
you paid an extra 20 a month, an extra 50 a month, an extra 100 a month, and how long it will take you to pay that off?
Yeah,
And depending on the balance and the interest rate, paying minimum, you will never pay it off. And they don't care about that
right.
1,000 or 2,000 you charged
Yep,
because they know they're getting $20 a month for your entire lifetime. They don't
yep.
care about what you charge. They want the interest and interest and interest.
Keeps going.
So the example I showed in what I have is if you paid 20, and I think the next one up was if you paid like 55 for again that same balance, the same
Mm,
interest rate. And the amount of time it would take to pay it off went from like 30 years to like 6
yeah, it's
because that
amazing,
extra
isn't it?
30, $40 is now
Yeah,
going against principal, or most
yeah,
of it is going against principal.
right.
So each month going down, you owe that much less on interest. So that's why you're paying it down faster because it's the principal's coming down faster. So that's something to consider also.
Yep,
Um, if you want to go the same route, when it comes to a mortgage, they don't tell you that, but it's all written out and you're signing the paperwork. But if you take out, let's just say $100,000 mortgage, if you look at the end of how much you will pay back after 30 years, let's round it off and call it 300,000. You pay 200 grand in interest.
yeah. It's sad.
They don't tell, oh, it's very sad.
Yeah,
They don't tell you, although it's in there,
right,
but they don't draw it to your attention
right.
that you could repay.
Yeah,
And in a mortgage, in a 30-year mortgage, if you can prepay, do that as fast as you can. Because let's just say if your payment is $1,000, principal and interest is 1,000 a month. That first month, and again, I'm rounding because I don't have the exact numbers, but let's just say that first payment is $10 principal, 999 $990 of interest. The second month may be $10.10 of principal, and the rest is interest.
yeah,
But if you paid those 10, $10.10, $10.20, $10.30 today, that corresponding interest goes away.
yeah,
So if you can afford to do that, pay as much as you can up front. And when you send it in, tell them put it directly to principal.
yeah.
And they're not going to tell you that because they're losing all that interest.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
could you pay it faster if you paid one extra payment a year? Yes. Could you
Yeah,
pay it faster if you paid twice a month? Yes.
yeah,
But paying all that principal up front in that first year, if you pay 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of principal in year one, you will save 20, 30, 40%, 50% of the interest.
yeah,
They're not going to tell you that. But again, documentation. It's in there, but nobody reads it.
yeah.
So
How
that's
important? How important?
it
Yeah,
is. It is.
yeah,
I I went and I just leased a car. my first one ever. I leased a car. And I really didn't want to, but I figured I did the numbers and it made a lot of sense to lease because I put no money down.
Yeah.
And I looked at the paperwork and it looked all good and I signed and everything was done. When I got home, actually, when I got into the car after I signed everything to drive it off the lot,
Hmm.
the paperwork showed the odometer having 10 miles on the car. I got into the car and it was at 679.
Whoa, that's not good for a lease.
No. So I went inside, back inside,
Oh
and I
yeah,
said, I want something in writing before I drive off the lot. I want a picture. I want something so that at the end of the lease, instead of getting 30,000 miles, I want the odometer to read 30,679. I'm
yeah,
not paying for those extra miles. There's no way.
yeah. They
But
tried to get you,
again,
didn't they?
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, they
again,
did.
so part of it is that, but part of it is who had the car before me? Where did it go? Did they take care of it?
Right.
I don't know who drove that car for 679 miles. I don't know
600.
what they did.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm not really getting a new car. I'm getting a used car.
Yep. Yeah.
So again, documentation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the third one. And the fourth one, again, these are just things that I thought of off the top. The
Sure.
fourth one, while it can affect younger people, most of the time this affects people 40, 50, 60, and older. And what it comes down to is a will and a trust. Now, if you've never heard of them or are not sure what it is, the high level version is a will are your thoughts on what you want to happen to your assets upon your death. So it could be who's getting the house, who's getting the bank accounts, who's getting the car, who's getting my clothes, and it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
A will is good, and we suggest everybody gets one. Part of, or in addition to the will, there's something called a healthcare proxy, which basically, again, all the documentation that says if something happens to me, and I have one, if something happens to me, I have it written that says no life support. I don't want to suffer. If I
Yeah.
get to that point where I will not get better and surgery won't help, basically pull the plug or whatever legally can be done. I
Whatever
don't want to
legal.
suffer. I don't want my family to suffer.
Right.
But again, if it's not in writing, then people are going to fight. Who's going to make the decision? If you can't
Yeah.
make the decision, the courts make the decision. It just gets real nasty.
Yeah.
Um, there's also a power of attorney, which basically says if I am unable mentally to make decisions, somebody can make them for me.
Mhm.
Now, in my case, I trust both of my kids 100%, and they know what I want to do, and they have the ability to do whatever they need to do on my behalf. But if you don't have a power of attorney, again, the state will decide.
Yeah.
Not so good.
In
Now,
state,
now,
especially where I
not
live.
not so good. Yeah. But on the will side, while it's good, if you have more than one child, more than one relative, more than one something, and you pass, and the will goes to your attorney, and he says, oh, okay, Chuck gets this, Steve gets this, Mary gets this, Joe gets that. Anybody can challenge the will. Even though it's in writing, they
Mhm.
can challenge it. Now, what happens is they call it probate. Now, again, let me tell you, I'm not an attorney, so this is just what I'm hearing.
Mhm.
But the probate says that will now goes to the court. And people will start to fight over it because they wanted something they did not get.
Hmm.
The only person that wins in that situation is the attorney
Yeah.
because they will bill and bill
Bill
and bill,
and Bill.
and it
Yep.
stays in court potentially for years.
Yeah.
So, whatever assets you had are slowly fading away in payments to the attorney, but
Yep.
nobody's willing to give in. So, that's
Sad.
a will.
Yeah.
Now, when you do a trust, so a will is after you die. A trust is while you're still living.
Mhm.
So the trust takes precedence, and a trust cannot be disputed. So the trust says, okay, who gets my house? Who gets my car? Who gets? Won't go to court. Attorneys have really no way to drag it on because in the trust it says Chuck gets, Steve gets, Mary gets, Bob gets. Done. Done.
Mhm.
I'll give you a quick one. And I don't want to belabor this too much, but there's a book out there called What Would the Rockefellers Do? And it goes back to the 1800s and it compares the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers, and they both made millions back then. The Vanderbilts, they never had a trust. So when he passed, Cornelius Vanderbilt passed, they left, I think it was like $48 million to the family. And talking in the 1800s. Again, he
Yeah, we're
was
talking way
magnate,
back.
whatever.
Yeah.
But within a couple of years, that $48 million was gone.
Yeah.
They just blew it because there was no accountability. People just, ooh, money, gimme, gimme, gimme. And it was
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
The Rockefellers, on the other hand, he created a trust with all the legal stuff behind it, with the independent group to watch it based on his wishes and
Yeah.
legal documents. We're now 150, 200 years later since he passed. That that trust, the way it was set up, has helped fund 240 less. Again, when the book was written, I'm sure it's up more now.
Yeah.
240 some odd different people or families to live their life. And the trust is now worth billions the
Yeah.
way it
That's
was set up
amazing.
because documentation. He
Yeah.
was smart enough to understand that if you control it and people can't just blow the money, it'll last a
Yeah.
lot longer and it'll be used for better purposes, helping families, helping countries, helping underprivileged, helping, as opposed to,
Mhm.
oh, I want that car, I want this vacation, I want this boat. Oh, I just want to, go gamble. That's the difference between the two, will versus trust. And it's a good book. And I read it, I think, once or twice already. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'll
it's
have to
good
check
stuff.
it out. I don't research much on Vanderbilts or even the
Yeah.
Rockefellers, and it's always interested me with the Rockefellers. I just never had a chance to do it. So I think this
If
podcast interview, it sparked my interest to say, I think I'm going to start
if
looking into that
you
to see.
if you want the book, afterwards we'll talk. You'll give me your email. I have the PDF
Oh, nice.
and I'll
Okay.
send it to you. Yeah, so you don't even have to
Awesome.
buy it. Yeah,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are the four examples I wanted to go to. But it can go through anything. So let's go something that I think a lot of people can relate to. You're an employee,
Yeah.
so when you get the job offer, make sure you read it carefully. The salary you agree to, the
Yeah.
benefits you agree to. How often will they do performance evaluations? What's the criteria for showing you had success? Because you don't want to wait a year to find out you made a mistake and you get no raise, no bonus.
Yeah.
All that stuff's up front. If they won't give it to you, you really got to think you want to work for that company. Because
You want that job.
if they're not going to give you that honesty, what else are they not telling you? So you
Yeah.
really got to think. And again, I'm not saying all companies are the same, but it goes back to CYA.
And we're talking documentation. So yeah, what a
Yes,
perfect way to preface
correct,
that, right? With look,
correct.
read it because a job interview where you're signing an application and you're signing on the
Mhm.
documents that work for this company, that is documentation. You want to make sure that you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's, you know?
And you have to. It's very
Yeah,
important to protect yourself. That's
absolutely.
it as an employee, but think about it as the employer.
Mhm.
If you're paying a salary to somebody, what are the expectations?
Right.
Is it Monday to Friday? Is it including the weekend? Is it a salary position or an hourly position?
Yep.
What's the benefits? All those things that both sides need to come together.
Yeah.
And if they don't, there's going to be some friction. And worst case scenario, the person leaves.
Yeah.
Then you have to go find the time and effort and energy to bring a new person in.
And then we'll go down that rabbit hole of all the costs of hiring a new
Right,
employee and
right,
training and
right.
all that
Which would
stuff.
right, which we've talked about
A
before. Yeah,
whole other rabbit hole. Yeah, we talked about that in another interview.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So protect yourself. And when I was younger, and okay, way back when I was younger, and I started.
1942.
I'm sorry, did you say 1842? Okay. Um,
1842.
but um, I remember when I started to work in 1980. Okay. Um, I never believed, and I was young and naive. I'll admit
Mhm.
it. I was young and naive. And I would go into an employer, first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and I never really had anything in writing
Yeah.
regarding salary, regarding
Yeah.
bonuses, promotions, and there were
It wasn't really a
constant,
thing, was it? It was just,
you know,
we just
yeah,
did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
back then it wasn't.
Yeah. We just,
And
all right.
yeah,
Handshake.
it was. Well, back then a handshake
Yeah.
meant more than it does today because
Yeah.
everybody's out for themselves.
Right.
And even when you're on the job and you're talking to the person next to you, oh, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. You got to leave. I'll take care of it. They didn't take care of it. And it comes back to
We do
me.
not. Yeah.
So you always have to be careful of who you're talking to. Send the, and again, I never believed emails, but I did after a while. I would
Yeah.
send, hey, Chuck, as per our conversation, this is what you're going to do. And I would send it return receipt requested. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I would send it um, with the notification that when you opened it, I would get notification that you opened it. So I would have proof that you saw it.
Yeah. Read
And
receipt. Yeah.
yeah, read receipt. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I would send out messages, and they would do to me too. Hey, Chuck,
Yeah.
you said you were going to do this. Thanks. You were going to help me on this. I'm going to help you on this. It became email paper trails, well, electronic paper trails of who did what, who said what, who's committing to what. Because in the end, when it didn't get done, the company doesn't care.
Yeah.
Company says it wasn't done. Chuck, you were supposed to do it. You're guilty. You're out of here.
Yep.
Or
Yeah.
Steve, you're out of here. But
Yep.
if you have that trail, at least it protects you. It's like going before the judge.
Yeah.
You say
Yep.
something, I say something different. The judge is going to decide based on documentation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, and the last final thought I want to talk about too is like, with what you do, with Universal Wealth and Deep Kent Financial Services,
Hmm.
I think what I like our listeners and followers here on TikTok and who are watching this podcast when I upload it, you
Hmm.
know, that you are not going to have that very fine print in your documentation that says, oh, just sign here and it'll be okay. You will cover everything with that person was
Mhm.
signing on that line to say, you are never going to be scammed, mind be. You're never going
Correct.
to be told something different. What you're going to get is what I'm telling you you're going to get, you know?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
not let anybody sign anything until
yeah,
they've read it, they understand it, we answer their questions.
yeah,
I, you know, it, it's the right thing to do
yeah.
because on the financial space, if I'm working with, and keep using you, Chuck, as the example, so thanks for volunteering.
Yeah,
Um,
you're welcome.
but But if we're working on some long-term retirement plan and you don't understand it and it's misrepresented, you're 35 years old. 30 years down the road, you retire at 65 and you go to say, "Where's my money?"
It's
It's not there.
not there.
It's too late.
Yeah.
I don't want that on my conscience.
Yeah. That makes you look bad. Your company look bad. Yeah. I totally get it.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, I have errors and omissions insurance, big deal,
Big deal.
but
Right.
it's the reputation.
Yeah.
And if I do that, I can lose my license. The
And it's what's
company can
cool.
get into trouble.
Yes. And what's cool about how we work together like that, it's the same thing is, if you think about there's no room for error, you
No,
know, and if you look at the things that we do, is we make sure that we catch any problems like that before they become a problem, you know,
correct, correct.
undercover, whether it's undercover, behind the scenes, or whether it's with you having reading the documents with
Yeah,
client, we make sure that you understand everything and we put it out there that this is the truth.
right. But even on your side, when you're going out and you're talking to different business owners, for the Q.A.C team, you're taking videos, you're explaining to them, you're trying to help them be better in their particular business establishment.
Yeah.
But what if you didn't? They could eventually lose their business. Somebody could get sick. Somebody could die. I mean, there's all kinds of ramifications. You know that.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of this month's Chasing the Stars, Tasted and Rated,
Mm,
and I've got one down, and I'm trying to get back with these folks because they really need
mm,
to know, what I found again,
yeah,
this the second one, and it's just a work in progress, because I don't want to post things and say things that they don't feel happened, or I want them to understand what I went through.
it- whether it's your business owners, whether it's my potential clients, their frame of reference is limited. And it's only because they've never been informed that I believe people are good
Yeah,
and want to learn, but again, if they're never educated, they don't know. So
yeah,
you walk into a client, I walk into a client, they want to know what's going on.
yeah.
Most, most do want to improve and be better. And that's cool. And that's a good thing. It's most. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of documentation, that's what I use my RMS snapshot for. So I can show that business owner, look what I put together. Here's what people are saying on Google, Yelp, and Facebook. Here's what I found. Here's the documentation. Here's what people are saying. This is what you're
Mhm.
saying. So we have facts, just like your documentation, right? You have a contract, you have this client agreement that shows the facts. Just got to read it and understand it, right?
Facts are so important
Yeah.
because if you or I went into to a potential client and said, "Yeah, it's kind of sort of like this, and it could be this, it could be that,"
Here, this and that, whatever.
some clients would say, "Okay,"
Okay.
but the end result, be it with somebody's life on your side, with somebody's finances on my side, the
It
end
could be
result
disastrous.
could be disastrous.
Yeah, it could be.
And neither one of us want to be in that position. That's why we do what we do and how we do it.
And that's good that you brought it up, right? Because being disastrous means that it makes us look bad, our company look bad, your company look bad. And now you're comparing me to what other people are saying. So it means now he's not saying the truth. So it can really get ugly. I
Right.
like the fact that this episode, talk about documentation, read it, understand it,
Mhm.
make it make sense, right?
It is, again, it is a pain. I will say that up front. It is a pain. But
Yeah.
if you look at the bigger picture, the potential, if something should happen, you're better off to be protected than not.
Yep.
Take those few
Absolutely.
minutes, ask somebody else to help you if you're not sure, but please don't sign anything if you're not 100% sure what it says and what it means. Please
And if
don't.
you're not, and if you're not sure, reach out to Steve, 516-727-2294, or Steve at stevekentfs.com, right?
I'm
Did I
impressed.
get it
Oh,
right?
good stuff. Good stuff.
Got it this
Good stuff.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. And for
Yeah.
questions, Chuck at, sorry, my eyes are bad, 410-935-6132 or Chuck at QACteam.com.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're here to help,
We
and that's
are.
what we do, and this Friday Forward podcast series is great because
It's 4 o'clock somewhere.
4 o'clock somewhere. And
Love
on
it.
this 4 o'clock somewhere, we're always here to help, man. That's why I love this series. I really do. This
Mm,
is probably one of the best things since I got started that I find valuable that I like to share with everybody, even if we're live on
mm,
TikTok, live on Instagram, whether we're live on Facebook and recording here on the podcast. I really like this series because
yeah,
we have a lot of good information. We put a lot of good nuggets out here.
we
We
do.
do.
And
Yeah.
again, it's just two guys sharing information, our life experiences,
Yeah.
just so that we can,
Yeah.
if we can help somebody to be
One
that
person,
little
right?
bit better or not
Yep.
get into trouble, it's
Yep.
done. We're good. That's all we're looking for. So it
Yep.
just, yeah, I like you. I love doing this. It's great.
Yeah. You can help one client, one person. If I can help one business owner,
Right.
man, I'm happy. You
Sure.
know? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Steve, thanks
Great
again for
stuff.
coming on, man. It's been another great
Absolutely.
Friday.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend. I
You
hope you
too.
got some great plans. It's been a great week for me as well. I'm looking
Good.
forward to the weekend. I got some things we'll talk about that
Oh,
I'm
nice.
growing up, and I want to put something in your hands as well. Hopefully, you can
Okay.
help spread me to New York and beyond. I'm
Sure.
excited to really put this out there and get on the road
Yeah.
again. So,
Absolutely. You got it.
yeah,
All right.
awesome.
Good deal.
Yeah, have a great rest of the day,
You too.
man. We'll
All
talk
right.
soon.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
You've been watching the Friday at 4 podcast series with your host Charles Luttrell and co-host Steve Kent. Thanks for watching.